My name is Erek Slater. I live in Chicago with my partner and our three small children. I have been a city bus driver for 14 years. My coworkers have elected me to 3 terms as their union shop steward and executive board member. I have been an elected voting delegate to the International Constitutional Conventions of the Amalgamated Transit Union, ATU, twice. However, I do not represent my union or the Chicago Transit Authority in this video. I am a member of Workers' Voice, La Voz de los Trabajadores, a U.S. sympathizing section of the International Workers' League. The U.S. has been hit hard by the coronavirus. Over 100,000 dead and predictions of another additional 100,000 to die in this first wave. There is great frustration about the manner in which the government has handled the pandemic, in its too late and halfway measures, forced stay-at-home orders, closing of public services and public spaces. There has been a mass layoff and a dramatic and quick ballooning of unemployment. In this context, a video became public of a killing of a black man by the state, and a mass movement has erupted for weeks. It is still going on. Rank-and-file transit workers in Minneapolis, members of ATU Local 10005, made it public and clear that they would refuse to drive police or those arrested protesting the police murder. The local union publicly backed this rank-and-file initiative, as did the national ATU through a public statement that reads, "Furthermore, as our members, bus drivers, have the right to refuse work they consider dangerous or unsafe during the pandemic, so too Minneapolis bus drivers, our members, have the right to refuse the dangerous duty of transporting police to protests and arrested demonstrators away from these communities where many of these drivers live. This is a misuse of public transit." In Chicago, where I work as a bus driver, the weekend of May 30th, 31st saw over 1,000 arrests. The city administration instituted a curfew and multiple times shut down public transit, trapping many protesters and forcing protests to move into working-class neighborhoods rather than the city center. Many of my coworkers were assigned to drive police shuttles, which converted public transit buses into a troop carrier that drove police and National Guard troops into working-class neighborhoods to militarily confront protests. Workers attempted to hold discussions at our bus garage about our international union statement and ask each other what we felt about driving the shuttles. That's when management called the police to disband our discussions. They were concerned that workers would make our own decisions and possibly support the protests. Later in the week, management took me out of service as a bus driver of 14 years. They are threatening to fire me for leading a wildcat strike. On June 8th, we held a rank-and-file worker speak-out and press conference. We marched to the CTA headquarters and delivered a lawsuit in the national court against the CTA for breaking the U.S. Constitution's First Amendment, freedom of speech. The city administration is also threatening our right to organize on the job. During the press conference, alongside nurses, teachers, auto, and transit workers, I asked, "Doesn't this protest movement have more legitimate moral authority than the U.S. government itself?" This question was met with enthusiastic affirmative. Coworkers and unionists and supporters around the world have been sending statements of support and signing petitions to help get me back to work and defend workers' democratic rights to freedom of speech and assembly, as well as our right to have and use our unions. Many victories have been won by this wave of protests in a short period of time. We have won the arrest and indictment of serious criminal offenses the 4 police officers that participated in the killing. The Atlanta police chief was toppled after another police killing of a black man. Many police are demoralized and some are quitting. The protest movement has won the state order to dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department itself. We need to make sure working people are involved in and lead these processes so it does not become more of the same. We have also won democratic space, such as pushing back curfews. An important victory is the collaboration between Black, white, Asian, and Latino workers, along with young social justice fighters. Working people and youth have gained some confidence in ourselves, taking mass action and taking victories through our own self-activity. Of central importance right now is national and international democratic organization of the struggle. The struggle must remain independent and not be co-opted by electoralism. Such organization of workers and youth can help the movement to take more ground for working people and stop it from being pushed back. There's a battle raging within the union movement. Should we enter into this social justice struggle with our industrial power, organizational strength, and legitimate authority? The longshoremen on the coast of California are going on strike today, June 19th, in an 8-hour political strike on Juneteenth, the celebration of the ending of slavery in the United States. This industrial activity of workers on behalf of a political social movement is very important. The unity between the workers' movement and the Black and Latino working communities in struggle will set the material conditions for us to be able to win the current demands of defunding the police and move towards the dismantling of state repression altogether. If the working class can join into this struggle, especially in an organized way, that may pave the way for future struggles that undercut the systems of class domination and open up the potential for working people to form our own government that has no need for racist state violence.